Just a moment, I just noticed something. Alright, we should be good now. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is Bansard of Radio Retrofuture, and today we have Laura Winslet back. Hello, Laura, how are you?
Hello, I am doing very well. How are you?
Yes, I guess I can just start off with some of the domestic announcements today. Yes, Kickstarter. We are started with the fulfillment. Matter of fact, all the European backers have been informed. For those who don't know, we now have a paperback version of Bound for the Styx. It looks amazing. I'm very proud of it. It even has a map now, which I'm very proud of. I don't know if you can see it up there in the small screen. And we've got two new anthologies, 321's Notebook included. There are some reasons why I have not yet fulfilled the American ones. Reason for that is that I want to make some adjustments to this one, but Amazon will not approve the changes. So I'm figuring out what is wrong so I can get the changes approved and then I can start shipping them out. So that's very annoying. Also, for those who have not yet got the Wrench in the Machine, it also got a major overhaul. It's a lot thinner now. It's nice and thin now. The first edition was very thick. It also now has more illustrations, and overall it just looks way, way, way better. So maybe next year I might start actual work on the hardcovers of the books. Of course, if you want to get them, final announcement before we get to our guest. This weekend we want to do a celebratory stream because this Friday I'll be turning 41, excuse me. And we recently reached 5,000 subscribers. So that finally happened. We'll see how fast we're gonna reach the 6,000. YouTube is rewarding me for posting less videos. So yeah, that's how that goes. With that, Laura, please tell us why you are here today.
Well, I'm here because I just have launched as of like an hour ago. I gotta check my clock. An hour, yes. My newest Kickstarter for a kind of silly, a little bit, deck of playing cards. And I don't know if I told you this in any of our past conversations, but I am a teacher. I used to teach high school and middle school. I have a bachelor's in English and art and a master's degree in education. And I have left teaching as of a couple years ago to go after my small business. And education and teaching is still a big part of what I'm doing and what I'm aiming to do. So there's an educational aspect to these playing cards, but they're also a lot of fun and a little bit silly.
I noticed there are also stories on some of them, or all of them.
So I've got one standard back on the cards, and it's one of the outfits that I've made, one of my Steam Vic outfits. And then on the inside of each of the, what do you call them, not the face cards, the number cards like 2 through 10, there's let's see if I can get this. There's a original sketch. I recruited a local artist here in Milwaukee, Katie French, to do these sketches, and they feel a little bit Tim Burton, a little bit Edward Gorey. And what I did is I found 36, because that's all the numbers, 36 old-fashioned, obscure, vintage, or kind of silly-sounding fashion terms And we get a lot of these in the steampunk arena because we tend to do some delving and research into the Victorian time frame. And so things like haberdashery or farthingale or piccadille or all of these different words, bum rolls and farthingales, spatterdashes, which is actually the longer version of the word spats, which is something that I learned.
Oh, yeah, I did not know that. No.
Yes, they were originally longer to cover the whole lower half of the leg and trouser, and they were called spatterdashes. And then they just shortened them to spats, and they covered the shoes. Yeah.
All
So
right.
I've learned things, but so you get the word and the definition and this cute little original art on each card, and then the face cards have more of my Victorian designs and steampunk designs, and so it's kind of some of them are a little silly sounding, as some of them are a little giggly, like you're like muff or bum roll or continuous boning that you would put into a corset.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Really? Did they call it boning? I'm not kindly
they,
surprised, to be
they
honest.
call it boning, they do. And so it's all 100% all ages safe, appropriate, but it also makes you giggle a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's a lot of fun, and it sneaks in a little learning while being a little bit silly too. And so
Yeah.
that's a lot of fun, and that's kicked off today. And I'd like to point out that I also dressed up for you. You always
Yes.
look so dapper in your vest, your waistcoat and shirt sleeves, and I'm like, I'm going to actually go and dress up because I have way too many outfits sitting and waiting for the next steampunk event.
Yeah, actually, this is a gift by another fashion designer who used to be active in the steampunk space, Marina Marisha from Germany. She has made several vests for me. She's also great, and she also offered to join me when we go to. There is this big gaming convention in Germany called Spiel, which I think is the biggest in Europe. Um, yeah, yeah. Actually, it's a good place for you. You can also promote your stuff there. Um, but yeah, she wants to like go as one of the characters of the Association of Ishtar because for those who are not in the know yet, we are working on a steampunk RPG. We are making
I saw
preparation.
that. That's so
So
exciting.
yeah. I mean, it's far from a concrete product. I have no idea how long it's gonna take, but we are, working into common ground. We're doing research, what for particular things, what we want to do. Right now, what I really want is, what would the ideal steampunk RPG look like? That's probably a better topic for Sunday, but it is something that you know, um, I want to have more talks about, especially with the community, like what kind of game would they want. And one thing that I want is, most steampunk RPGs, well, exception of GURPS. GURPS gets it. But most steampunk inspired RPGs are fantasy with a steampunk skin.
Mm-hmm.
That I found. So what I want to see if we can create a system where sure you can have your characters level up, but really the things that you need to accomplish your missions are technology. So we want to have a bit of a an item focus instead.
Mm.
So I guess what we gonna mean is gonna be kind of like an item customization system. So the players can like put together a rig, something like that. Devil's here. Hello, Retrofuture and guest. Hope you're doing great. Also, while we are talking about fashion, can we talk how much style Michiel de Router has? As a matter of fact, I already produced a photo of him for Lara. Yes, he does have amazing style. Um, and yeah, let's see who. What else did you type? A little bit of silly is good nowadays. Everything is so serious today. Being silly is great. Yes, it's true. Best steampunk RPG is Steam plus Punk plus RPG. Steampunk RPG. Yeah. Yeah. What would your what would your ideal steampunk RPG look like?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we're talking tabletop, right? You're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
not online. Okay. Um, hmm. Well, of course, the visual element, and you're on top of this because I've seen your work. Visual element is really important. That sumptuous kind of that Victorian look. You know, the getting people into the immersion of a very different world than today. I think
Mhm.
the visual element is important to just transport people to that other, that mindset, the game place. Well, one of my favorite RPGs that I've played. I mean, I played a lot of Vampire Masquerade,
Yeah.
and I like how each class was able to go up its own skill set, and depending on which one you played, it would actually really impact your gameplay. It wasn't just like well, I just like the look of this, but in the end, the gameplay is going to be pretty much the same as every other character.
Mhm.
I like the effort and the idea that you're actually going to get specific bonuses or benefits to picking this one, or drawbacks to picking this one, and pros and cons to each one. I like that it actually does make a difference. I've played games that felt very like it's just skins on the same character and you're just rolling dice.
Yeah.
And so it's like I like the customization according to who you pick.
Mhm.
That
Yeah,
would
I'm
definitely
sending you some ideas for what are gonna be our next books. This is the first images that I sent you are from Enwin.
be.
That manuscript is done. Right now it's going through proofreaders. Especially curious to the opinions of people who have not yet watched it, read any of the other stories. And one of my colleagues was so generous to read it, and he loved it. To my surprise, because it's it's about a special agent's doll that is coming to life. It's
That's fun. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So that's what that is about, and this, I wonder
Some of
what
the
your. Go ahead.
did now this character has been in the coloring books too, right? Because I know I've seen this
Yes,
character
yes,
before. Okay.
yeah, that's right. Matter of fact, the colored one is in the coloring book as a pencil line. Yeah, that's
Okay.
correct. And this is the book I'm currently finishing. Not that high on the fashion, but they're gonna need these are the penal troops that I talked about before we started the show. So yeah, it's
Well, I
gonna
don't know.
be
I think fashion, the style and the fashion is important, and it's not appropriate that it's always, fancy. So that actually looks really good. I mean, that is
yeah,
what someone
it's
would be wearing if they were, driving an an automation like that. What is that?
yeah,
Like a big
yeah.
tank?
It's actually based on a real life robot that are people are experimenting with. Yeah, these are the CBs or the chassis de bataille. Um, and they are the world's first man piloted robots, and they're controlled by the so-called casket girls. And they are especially designed for fighting like aliens. That's the only context they're allowed to be used in at this point in time. I want to expand on this, so we
Mm-hmm.
can. I don't know. Are you familiar with the BattleTech universe?
Not all that much. My gaming lately has been a lot of Assassin's Creed and Conan Exiles.
Oh, okay. Well, BattleTech is
Sure.
basically big stompy robots in space,
Mm-hmm.
but amazing lore. So yeah, then I have yet to play the system. Like I bought like this entire army, like multiple armies from somebody who wasn't doing anything with them. So I still need to play test it. But yeah, it's kind of like something that I'm gunning for, you know. And also the game developer that I'm working with is really wants to do something with this as well. So it's probably gonna be something that people can specialize in. Or have to use in order to complete missions. That is kind of like, the idea is that players are gonna have like a very specific mission, and they need technology or vehicles or something like that to accomplish it. So, we
Really
might
have to
actually
get
have to look at
involved in
some.
the world.
Yeah, we might actually have to look at some wargaming rules to have a simple vehicle system. Because everyone keeps telling me, yeah, no, there are no RPG systems that do it well. So, we'll see. Let's see. Very item focused and not saving items. Stinkerers are imported into the world and mixing items. Mistake items being a good use in another situation. Yeah, I think I get what you're saying. Yeah, I want to have like a kind of a system where resources are kind of fluid. The players can say, okay, this is a situation where we're gonna have to prepare for, and we've got this many resources that we can spend on getting particular equipment and stuff like that. And then they're gonna have to find ways to use that equipment appropriately in the situation. So yeah,
That is the thing that I hate in games when they have um, inventory items that you can pick up and you can have them, but they're not actually useful for anything. Because when you start a game, you're not going to know that.
yeah,
So you're trying to hang on to everything, and then you find out, oh, this is actually just completely useless, and I've been
yeah.
filling up my inventory with it.
And when there is a situation where you can use them, you forgot that you even had it. I guess that's kind of what I like about a system like Shadowrun, where you're expected to actually have like a specialized character that's just good, just very good at one specific thing. Um, yeah,
Then you need a different set of skills that you have to communicate and
yeah,
coordinate with someone else to get that done.
yeah. So you actually have like somebody who's good at hacking, someone who's good at manipulating robots, another at I don't know, lock picking or magic. In case of Shadowrun, you've got magic in there, so you need somebody to deal with that as well. And
Got
just
a
someone
balanced
who's
group.
brute
Yeah.
force. So you actually have to like have a balanced party, but you can still have countless variations of brute force. You can somebody who is someone who uses magic to be brute force, or somebody who's like using cybernetics to be brute force, or someone who's like old fashioned and just likes big guns. So that's what I like about systems like Shadowrun, and you're free to choose whatever you want. You're not stuck to a specific class like in D&D. I never liked D&D for that reason, like because I could never make what I wanted to make.
I have a hard time choosing. I have a hard time choosing because I really like just being able to run in and, beat the crap out of something like a tank, but I also really like magic too. And like, and it would be nice to be able to, heal, throw out a heal or something, and I'm like, why can't I do everything? But specialize in like two or three things. It's like I can do, in real life, you can do more than just learn how to use a sword. You could learn how to use a sword and learn how to use a bow. So why wouldn't you?
Yeah, stuff like that. I mean, in Shadowrun, you definitely can, but it comes at the expense of other skills. Um,
Because you only have so much time, right?
yeah,
To learn
yeah.
things.
But it's interesting. Like in Shadowrun, you can like cheat by picking quirks.
Okay.
Buying negative traits that will actually give you more points to spend on skills. And it
Mm-hmm.
also helps you like really build this really quirky character, with an allergy to gold or something like that, or things like
Yeah,
that. Or
yeah. I played a campaign on Blades in the Dark.
oh,
Um,
yeah, we are looking into that as well. Yeah.
and there was, God, what was it? I think I built in like a minor addiction to visiting brothels for my character, and like, how often is that going to be a problem? You'd be surprised.
Yeah, yeah. Oh
Because
God,
they're like,
I had a.
gamble or drink too much, and I'm like, no, 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 I'm gonna do this. It won't be a problem.
Mhm.
It was a problem sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's fun things like that. And it's
An
going to be
addiction to
kind of fun if we
gold.
can like introduce something like that as well. And create a community that actually. But I think the project overall will be a good opportunity to create conversations on steampunk and steampunk worlds, and well, we're a multiverse, so we can do all that stuff. But also, have a proper conversation about what we can do as a steampunk community and create and all that stuff. So there are multifaceted things that can come into that, and we'll see whatever will happen after that. Why not a magician that uses strength spells and buffs himself and can imagine? Can you imagine a small goblin mage that picks up a giant axe to kill a dragon? A matter of fact, in Shadowrun, you can make such classes. I forgot what they're exactly called, but there are specialized classes that do exactly that. I guess they're kind of like monks in a way. Um, but I mean, Shadowrun is more grounded than D&D. So, um, I mean, there are like very powerful beings like dragons in Shadowrun, but they're like the equivalent of gods compared to mere human mages. Yeah, it's more for fantasy than for steampunk. There are like some gaslight fantasy worlds where I definitely say, well, they're the intersection between the themes of steampunk and fantasy are that well done that it becomes almost like steampunk, which is Arcana of Steamworks and Magic is a great example of this, and Shadowrun does this very same, but then with cyberpunk. Um, but I mean, the themes are quite similar in that regard, except the effects are reversed. In Arcanum, technology is forcing away magic, and in Shadowrun, magic is forcing away technology. So
Okay.
they're kind of the antithesis of one another. It's very interesting. It can be done, but you need to like create the whole world and the lore of the world for it. Like in Arcanum, there is this background story about this kingdom that was run by dragon knights, and they were like everyone was afraid of them because dragon knights. And then there was like this upstart industrial state that developed gunpowder, and they had like these ragtag militias, but it were ragtag militias with muskets. So yeah, they blew away the dragon knights and broke them. Yeah, hello, Guilty Gearhead. Thank you for being here. No, I don't mind if you're lurking. Um, but
So they're kind of blending the fantasy creatures and this kind of like more technological industrial feel.
yeah, Arcanum is basically about a world in which there's this new kind of Victorian inspired empire that like has all these massive steam engines and is all this industry, and they've got things like oh, mages cannot go near the locomotive, so they always have to go at the back of the train. And the conductors actually cast detect magic spells to check that the people are not mages trying to sneak in front. Because they'll cause serious problems. So like the mages are becoming like persona non grata in those cities because electricity and steam power is everywhere. And the guy who created the steam engines also has this entire story where it was basically a guy who really wanted to be a dwarven apprentice, but the dwarves would not accept him. So then he just started his own thing, and now the dwarves are out of business because of him. Not that he intended to do it; it just happened that way. Uh,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's still basically the dwarven's fault that it all happened that way. So
Interesting.
yeah,
Interesting. I haven't played that either.
yeah. I mean it's unplayable. Like the game is buggy as all hell. It's not made for fast systems. I mean, this is like 1990s, I think. So
Okay.
I tried playing it, but like my save games got corrupted. Combat was undoable. But it had very awesome ideas and depth that you don't see in RPGs anymore. Well, maybe the last Dungeons Dragons game, but that's kind of continuation of that same tradition of RPGs. That's yeah, but yeah, who knows? We'll see. We are now working on a tabletop game, and if that, who knows where what that will lead to? Who knows?
I
Strange.
A steampunk murder mystery game will happen, but I've put it off till next year because I have the two card games. Oh God, I was able to afford to print another card game myself a couple months ago, and it's being shipped to the States now. I just did a Steam Vic fashion memory card game of the type
Yeah,
where
I
you put
saw.
cards face down, you try and match the ones. So memory cards. So again, the whole trying to use what I'm making, what I have for a practical purpose, an educational purpose. So I've got the card games. I'm the aim is putting out book number 2 by the end of the year. And instead of the Victorian collection, advanced costuming techniques, it is the Halloween collection, costume and cosplay techniques. So less focus on sewing specifically, and less focus on Victorian as much as like role play and character costumes, cosplays that I've done, and like non-sewing techniques that you need to create a bunch of different costumes. My next cosplay that I'm going to be finishing over the next couple of months is Bo-Katan Kryze from The Mandalorian, and from other, obviously Star Wars lore. But that is going to be interesting because I haven't done a lot of like aging and weathering of of armor pieces really, and this is all going to be 3D printed PLA armor and everything. So it'll have that. And so I
Do
had
you
to put
have a
off.
3D printer or is there?
I have a friend who's we're goods for services, and he's printing out the armor and 3D, and I have all of the patterns for like the flight suit and the underneath and the vest, and I'm gonna be making that. And yeah, so it's gonna be really interesting. I'm reaching out to some friends for their advice. Timothy Harrison in Chicago, who is like a pro at all of these paint techniques. I'm gonna be like, help me. Where do I even start? But that's kind of like the point of book number 1 and book number 2. It's like it's not about being an absolute professional in everything that you do, because everybody starts with trying it the first time. The point is to try and know enough and learn enough ahead of time that you can still do something in a way that looks pretty professional, that looks pretty good and that you can be proud of. And so, my goal is, here's a bunch of tips that can help you do that. And so that's just too much going on this year. So the Steampunk Murder Mystery game is coming out next year, but it is still in the works.
Yeah.
I got things going on for it.
So yeah, that was the Kickstarter that didn't succeed last time, right?
If I honestly, I put it up for printing 250 copies of the game, and looking back on it, I'm like, where would I even put 250 copies of the game? If I had tried to print, if I had funded for printing 100 copies, I would have made the goal easily, because we raised over $4,500. It just wasn't. It didn't hit the goal on Kickstarter. I've also been thinking about Indiegogo because of that.
Yeah.
Because
Well, I see you gained another backer just now, so that's good. You're at 17 backers now.
yeah. I did a little pre release activated it late last night, and so we're still in the first like 12 hours, and it's a lower print goal and funding goal than last year, so I am very optimistic.
Yeah. I'm gonna print it, put it in the chat just one more time. I already put it there, but I'm gonna... Oh, I gotta log in there. Okay. I'm gonna put it in there just in case you guys, spread the love. If I can copy paste that link, because why can't I copy paste that? But yeah, let's see. We've
Yeah,
got some
it's
other
super
chats.
fun.
Hello,
Everybody
just
loves
lurking.
playing with cards.
All right. Let's see. Yeah, so there's no difference with the new AAA games from today with that game. Well, at the time it was, I assume Arcanum was working well. But yeah, like it was supposed to run on Windows 95. So that's that's a while ago.
That is a while.
But no, it's unplayable, unplayably buggy. I mean, yeah, there are absolutely games like what was that last vampire game that got released? I forgot its name, but it looked absolutely bloody terrible. Good evening, A.S.
I
Brunnert.
think I got into that to see how they did, because they've been talking about Vampire the Masquerade coming out forever.
Yeah,
Or
that was
the
part two,
new
right?
Vampire.
Yeah,
It
well,
was. I don't even know. It wasn't done. I was in the beta, and I just haven't heard anything about it since.
as the last thing I heard that it was cancelled. That's what I remember about it.
You
Because
know,
the back the team was that terribly organized.
that's a
Um,
shame. That's a shame. The Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines was my first online RPG ever, and I still feel like it was just so in depth in this like
mhm.
semi-open world and all the different quest lines and all the different classes and everything. And it was so true to the game, the you know the board game tabletop dice roll game, that it was so much fun, and it spoiled me for RPGs almost. And so when they said that they were putting out another one, and then it kept getting delayed and delayed and
Yeah.
delayed.
Yeah, what I remember that there were like problems behind the scene from the very get go. So that's all I remember about it was the drama. Um,
You hear about this, about like dev teams just falling apart, or yeah,
yeah,
sad.
well, I'm sure that some people in the chat remember more about it than I did. I do remember some stuff, but it's all the type of stuff that I'd rather not talk about. Let's see. Are those games also coming to Europe? I assume she's talking about your product right now. Are those games also coming to Europe? I have a shop nearby where I live, so I can buy them here. That would be great. This is a question for the guest. Damn, the Iron Age are ruining my wallet. Yes, I.
Yeah. So I do ship worldwide, and I have an account with, it's called Pirate Ship. So they go with this whole like pirate theme, but you get discounts on shipping if you're a small business. And so I am able to get a deal. Kickstarter makes makes it difficult to let you put in accurate amounts for international shipping, because especially with add-ons, it'll ask how much shipping do you want, and it's like, well, if somebody buys a book and then this add-on, shipping is not going to be as much as just if they bought the add-on. So
Mhm.
what I've done before is when people order from overseas, if they paid a lot more in shipping on their pledge, I just refund the excess.
Okay. Well, how
And
I
that,
solved this problem, I made an empty crate for digital, which is like €1 or €2, I forgot. But that gives you like access to all the add-ons. And then I've got
mm,
the empty crate international. That covers all the expenses to everywhere in the world. And then people can add the add-ons. Um, with just a little
Interesting.
extra.
Okay.
And that's how I solved it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I might have to look at that.
Yeah, because you can, like, when you create a reward, you can say digital rewards only or digital and physical rewards. And if you say
Mm-hmm.
digital rewards, they can only pick the digital add-ons. But if you say the physical rewards, they can pick all the add-ons that are include physical.
Mm-hmm.
That's and I had luck with that. Like most people who picked the international shipping reward didn't pick anything else, but some did. And then okay, well, I'm gonna pay €10 shipping for a patch. Well, fine with me. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Hmm.
So yeah, no, I'm not a shop myself. Just yeah, I got that. I think we got that Devil's Hair. But you can like request it at your store if they're interested, because you've got a memory game, the playing card set, and
Book.
the mystery game. No, that's not done yet.
Not yet. I've got the book. I've got the memory card game. I've got the playing cards. I also have a set of 4 greeting cards, done in the Victorian style, and there's like just dropping a note, thinking of you. There's one with 2 women on a bench, 2 Victorian ladies on a bench, like sitting by each other, and it's hey bestie. And then there's one where I'm all dressed up, and like you can see the bustle, and it says every day I'm bustling. And that's an option as an add-on. Um, so there's a lot of different options that can be, or there's a lot of different of my printed items that can be added on already. I don't have the calendars yet for
Oh right, that
2024.
was it. Yeah, the calendars.
I
Yeah.
have a couple of photo shoots coming up, and I want to be able to choose from those for some new pictures.
Yeah, we should also look into doing our own. We've got so many photos. We should be able to make a calendar of our own as well. Now I think about it. Yeah. We might actually. I might have enough material to make a second coloring book as well. So. Um. Yeah. Hustle. Yeah, we gotta keep hustling. Bustling. Yeah. Yeah.
The name of the game
True.
never gets shorter.
Greeting cards, and I'm looking into making more patches, and people also want more miniatures, but the miniatures are a bitch because they're so expensive. But I recently got acquainted with a new company. Maybe I can do something with them for cheaper, because the printing stuff is expensive, and so is the development. But for one, I
Mm.
really want to have a miniature of the chassis de bataille that I just sent you. I also definitely want one miniature of Igraine and Enwin together somehow. Um, we are. I'm considering doing different poses of the existing models, because that's quite affordable
Hmm.
to do, and then I mean, yeah, the associates, those are uniforms, so that's not an issue. But something that I also wanted to pitch to you. I'm actually making a book version of the Steampunk Beginner's Guide. I actually already have a title for it: Brass in the Age of Iron Age Media.
Nice.
And yeah, and I already asked Hort if he wants to participate on the chapter on steampunk music, because we did a video together on steampunk music. I was wondering if you would be interested to make a piece or collaborate in a chapter about costuming and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Um,
For TeslaCon, have I told you about the steampunk convention here, TeslaCon, before?
I actually, the guy who organized it actually asked me to
Sure.
promote my Kickstarter on his show.
Oh
It
yeah.
was something that I was also looking for. Somebody in the United States also made a Associate of Ishtar cosplay. Two, actually. One of
Nice.
an associate and another one of a scav. So, um, yeah. Anyway,
Cool.
but
Find those
yeah, yeah,
pictures of
the
that.
TeslaCon, yeah, they're doing an Egyptian theme, if I'm not mistaken.
They are. They are. And Eric, the organizer, Eric Larson, asked if I would write something up, kind of because apparently there are a lot of new people who haven't been very involved in steampunk who are signed up for the convention, and they're kind of nervous. They're like, well, I don't really have anything to wear. I don't want to stick out, and also, how do I even start with not just steampunk, but I want to do something that's appropriate to the theme.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Right.
he was
Right.
asking if I could write something up that could be usable for people who are new to steampunk and they don't know where to start. But also, if you do have a decent steampunk wardrobe, where do you go as far as adding on for the theme, or what are some ideas that you could do? And so I wrote a set of 3 articles called "I Have Nothing to Wear: A Steampunk Adventure in 3 Chapters."
Yeah. I had a similar kind of similar approach, I guess.
Like, I have nothing to wear. Two full wardrobes downstairs and nothing to wear. But I kind of looked at it in 3 levels. People who are very, very into the aesthetic, but they don't really have any making skills.
Yeah.
Kind of like have an idea of like, well, I know what I like when I see it.
Yeah.
And then there's people who are at the level of, well, I can adjust some things and maybe alter some things. Like I could do some painting, or I can do maybe like change the buttons out or something like that, So like this mid-level, and then people who are like, no, I wanna make it from scratch. I'm ready to learn how to work with leather, So these 3 levels of kind of like involvement in the making aspect, and I look at starting from scratch as far as like a basic steampunk outfit, looking at the theme this year, and then going the next level in like props and accessories and those special little touches. And so something like that is not too far out of the pale. I'm probably gonna print up a few just to have at TeslaCon so people can take them and have a printed version.
Yeah. I'll show you what I got, and maybe we can then spar like what, because I'm not really happy with the current execution of that chapter. But it's also because I've been working off the script of the Steampunk Beginner's Guide. That I'm also approaching the book from kind of like how I observed at the time that I wrote the video, and how because it's been 10 years. Well, not 10 years, but it's been a project. Well, no, it has been 10 years. Goddamn.
Time flies.
So it actually covers a period of 10 years, and now people are using the term Iron Age to kind of like describe the age of media since the 2000s. It gave me a new perspective on actually it's very correct that steampunk arose during that period, because it's actually the only time that it could emerge when you think about it. So that's interesting in that regard. So yeah, that's kind of like my idea for it. And
Absolutely. Let me know.
Yeah. Of course, it's even though I've got the scripts halfway done, I still need to rephrase it. Maybe I can use ChatGPT for that. ChatGPT, rewrite this script for me.
Just change it around some.
Yeah. Well, basically, that's what I've been doing now, and it's taking hours and hours of work. But this way, it's still by me. It's just automatically rearranged essentially. So maybe I'll try that, see what happens. Might actually, because the AI kind of also makes interpretations, so it's very interesting to see what they conclude from that as well. I've been playing with AI for the first time last night to see what would happen. There are some interesting things, like the stories themselves are very bland. But it's interesting when you give them something to work off of something. So, I'm eager to experiment with it and see if I can up my own productivity that way. Um,
I've played a little. I've played around a little bit with Midjourney, just to see what it spits out.
hmm
Um, and it's interesting, but at the same time, you can usually spot
Yeah, you can spot it right away.
you
You
can
know.
usually spot things. Like if you know that's not how corsets look,
Yeah.
or they have 50 teeth in front, or extra fingers.
Yeah. Well, for kind of like cosmic horror stuff, it can do some awesome things. That's how I learned of Mid Journey, because someone had these very awesome Lovecraftian creations, but they don't need to be correct. On the contrary, they need to be uncanny,
Hmm.
and then it's amazing. But for all the other stuff, you're like, yeah, this is you look at it like, yeah, this is AI generated. Um,
Yeah, it is almost creepier when it looks correct at a brief first glance, and then you're like, wait, no, something's off. And you have to
yeah,
actually look at it and go, what's wrong
yeah,
here?
especially the hands.
Or
Those things it
if
can
it's a
do.
group of people, there'll be somebody in the back whose face is just like
Yeah,
once you
stuff
see the
like
screen,
that.
you
Yeah.
die.
Yeah, and people don't touch it up and just post on Facebook, and yeah, but it's a good way to generate a lot of likes.
Hmm.
That's kind of like what annoys me, but that annoys me about social media in general, where you post like a simple selfie, like, oh, this is my costume for this event, and you get like 75 likes in like 2 hours, and then you post something that you're really proud of that took hours to make, and it's like, you know, your mother gives it a like, and that's about it.
Yeah.
You know.
sometimes I'll sometimes I'll write a blog and I'll start it like, hello, my faithful readers, both of you. Hi,
Mm.
mom.
Hi,
I'm like,
mom.
whatever. It's it's more for me to have some accountability in the process of making my costumes, at least me for my blog specifically. And that really paid off because I
hmm
drew a lot from those pictures and that record that I made for my first book.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. I mean, it helps me structure my thoughts, and I mean, many of my conclusions about steampunk and how we can improve it came from writing those blogs, and also spotting your own contradictions. Like, wait, I'm contradicting myself here.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, absolutely. And I'm curious where the Association of Ishtar will end up. Our next comic is nearly done. Or I was looking for the cosplay picture. It's on Discord, but if I start messing around in our Discord screen, I will lose a connection. So I need to look it up on my phone. Um, but yeah, I hope to have more um, people following their example, and see what we can do with that project wise. Um, because one of the thing, and I get this feedback a lot, like, oh, well, steampunk looks awesome, but there is no story there. You know,
Like, well, but there can be.
I mean, there can
You
be,
know,
yeah, but
the thing is that it's so maker focused that you can you can create a story, if you choose to, out of just about any part of the work, any part of it. It's
yeah, but
it's like the tipping point for a story.
yeah, well, the thing is that a lot of steampunk now, at least over here, and I hear similar stories from overseas, is that it's becoming more and more cosplay focused. Um, more and more people who go to the events are cosplayers, not actual makers, which is a big difference. Um, and yeah, and we have it over here in the costume culture overall, where I and a friend went to Elfia, which is one of the biggest costume events in the Netherlands, and it was like much of it. Before cosplay became a thing over here, we just had costuming. We didn't
Mm-hmm.
have cosplay, You know, if there was a Klingon among the people, that was a rarity. You know, that was a unicorn. But now it's all, you know, anime and video game characters, and you know, actual good quality costumes are
Less common.
yeah.
Yeah. I have seen. I mean, I've been at selling like the books and whatnot at a bunch of cons, and I do see. I mean, you can tell when it's a costume that was bought off Amazon.
Yeah.
um, and there's a proliferation of like printed bodysuits. You know, like it's a very easy out now because there's a lot of costumes like superheroes particularly
Yeah.
that it's like bodysuits with a lot of add-ons or customizations, and now there's a market for printed bodysuits that now you're Gila and you're done.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but you know, for me, and I noticed the same with photographers. You know, we used to have like really good photographers coming to the events, but you know, at some point, you know, oh, it's more Gops in Brown. Well, whoop-de-doo, you know, and masks bought of Amazon, goggles bought of Amazon, so everyone's wearing the same goggles now, and you know, when I got into 2012, you know, that steampunk, you know, sure you could buy steampunk themed stuff, but it were like,
But you almost never stopped there.
no.
And once you got it, you're like, how am I gonna make it mine?
Yeah, exactly. How do I make it mine? And that's, yeah, it's,
I like the creative aspect. I like seeing what people do at every different maker level. You know, it's like everybody starts somewhere, and maybe you want to improve and get better, or maybe you're happy where you are, but you're making it your own. And I feel like that's where a lot of the fun comes in, and a lot of the pride in the costume when you're done. It's like because I got this piece and that piece and started at Halloween Express, but then let me tell you what I did to it.
yeah, exactly, and that's becoming kind of like a lost thing. And I just sent you the image of the cosplay the guy made. And Skunk's Workshop, I'm glad you brought it up. I imagine her dressed up as Subject 36 at a con would be a catch a lot of attention. Are you familiar with Subject 36?
Myself, I am not. I know I saw 321's notebook, and that looked like a lot of fun.
She appears in there as well, that's correct. And Skunk's Workshop, he made a great illustration for 321's notebook, a matter of fact, about something that's adjacent to that. Let me see if, and she has her own comic as well. I just remembered. But yeah,
Actually I've seen this image, or not this image, but this outfit a number of times on your posts.
Yeah, probably. Here it is. But what makes her like she can be cosplayed in various ways because she's a bit of a transformer. There it is. Let me see. This is her when her legs are folded out. I want to look for a detail made by a friend of mine that shows what she looks like close up, because there is something. She has tattoos. She has a lot of tats. Where is... here it is. Yeah. Let's see if I can share it real quick. But yeah, she's covered in numbers.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are associates she has hunted for full context. I'm showing it for guests as well.
Yeah.
So she's...
That's kind of like a record of her accomplishments.
Yes, essentially. And this is also why all the associates have numbers comes from. She's the first, not is she just the first villain that I ever wrote, but she is like the basis for the whole universe, essentially. And yeah, a lot of people when they saw her, a bounty hunter tattoos for how many kills. Cool, yeah. In this case, he just hunts associates. Um, and I'm planning on working on a series of videos. As a matter of fact, I posted the first blog that kind of like explore the background of, for example, I posted the blog. I still need to make a video about it that explores the background of the range of the machine, where the
Mm-hmm.
ideas came from and the history behind those concepts. So I also want to go into, the history of the British police force and number stations and all that stuff. Just to both be expanding the lore, but also talk about the history that inspired the books.
Well, yeah,
Um,
the history is what makes our efforts and our costuming and our products gives it that extra depth.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. Well, for me, when it comes to writing steampunk, most of my inspiration all stems from history. I mean, yeah, there are pop culture references in the Wrench and the Machine. I mean, the title itself is literally a reference to the ghost in the shell.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some science fiction references in there as well. Some of which are more coincidental, like oh, I gotta put that in. Um, but yeah, most of the events and all that stuff, when I start a new story, what I look for is usually history, and not so much science fiction. So, well, not entirely true, but much of the science
Definitely.
fiction that I reference are again based on historical events. So,
Yeah. No, I hear you. In fact, I see in your picture that you sent of your costume, you're wearing jodhpurs.
that is not me. That is the guy
Oh, is it?
that made the Association of Ishtar
Oh,
cosplay.
okay.
So that's an
Well,
American. Um,
jodhpurs happen to be one of the words on the cards. I don't think it's one that I have printed here, but yeah, just jodhpurs. What are
yeah.
those? Yeah.
We in the Netherlands tend to call them turd catchers.
Nice.
But yeah, they were like for riders, mostly with high boots.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense.
Mm.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I've got other stuff in the they have multiple names. Like corsets. We're familiar with corsets. They were also called stays. They were also
Oh.
called a pair of bodies. And so I just
Ooh.
picked one and I'm like, I'll put the word corset in there, or not corset, stays. And so the stay is what made it into the card game.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
it's an
closing
interesting.
is very important for me. Maybe I can send you like that. That's always one of my big one of the big things that I annoy my illustrators with. Like, oh, those suspenders aren't correct, or oh, he needs to wear spats, or
It's
um,
important because that can take people out of that world, when they
yeah,
see something that's off.
yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm so glad with Johan because well we've oh man, this was also like the designs for the uniforms for the dragoons. That was also another topic, that I postponed for literally years, you know, and then it was like, oh, now we have to do it. Now we have to make the dragoons. I sent it to you, right? Just now. Yes.
So,
Um. So yeah. Oh, and this one. This is of course very much inspired by medieval. It's a scav in a way, but like this is a very medieval inspired faction, and I used to come from a medieval reenactment background.
I
Um,
can see that. Yeah.
so yeah, I wanted that all to be correct. It's also, by the way, heavily inspired by a costume I actually wore. I did not wear the coat you see there, but and let's see. But those were not the ones I wanted to send you. This is the one that I wanted to send you. Um, there we go. That's Igrain's
That's nice. Yeah.
outfit.
Fun.
Yeah. You know, and it has like the spats, it has the hood.
I like
Um,
double lit.
yeah. You know,
Oh, double lit.
yeah, this is also, by the way, a miniature that is actually for sale in our store, both as a STL file and as a miniature. And we actually have some to spare because the numbers of the Kickstarter did not make sense. So,
Gotcha.
yeah. So hopefully we can offer those at a future Kickstarter.
Extra
Hopefully.
bonuses.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Oh,
well, now it's just an extra expense. So, fortunately, I still made a little bit of money on the miniatures, but, like, I don't know if I can ever play Keat on those. Yeah. Let's say, have you also read some of the Ravelijn stories? That is from a big amusement park called the Efteling, and they have, like, these shows with automatrons and pyrotechnics and knights fighting and stuff. Kind of like fantasy Power Rangers, I think. I have not seen it myself, so. And let's see. Can you spot the difference between? You can spot the difference between a $5 suit and a $500 self-made cosplay, just like you can see the difference between particle effects and CGI. Yeah. Have you also read some of the Ravelijn stories? There are some Victorian and steampunk monsters and costumes in it. I do recall that, but I would need to look at them. Yeah, you told me to study those before. I have not gotten around to that. I need to study so much for everything. I actually do historical research to write my books, even when they take place in a completely fictional world, like in Bound for the Styx. For sale now. It looks amazing. Go buy it. I want to make more art, but I also need to make sure that I make a little bit of profit this year.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's when you are your own, you know, artist, producer, marketing engineer,
Yeah.
HR person, digital
Yeah,
designer,
yeah.
everything. It takes a lot. I mean, I finally just got my Square store up on Twilight Ember.
Oh.
Finally, so now I don't have to just send people to Etsy and give Etsy that fee
Yeah, yeah,
all
yeah.
the time.
Yeah, we also have our own store now, by the way. Sponsored at Gumroad. Is it just Gumroad or Gumroad.com? I'm gonna post it in the
I'm
chat.
sorry, Gumroad?
Yes, Gumroad. .com. Sponsored at Gumroad.com. I'll post it. I'll send it to you as well. Like it's very simple. Like you barely have any customization options, but then on the other end you don't barely have any customization options, so you don't have to worry about them. There is
Yeah,
a
the Square,
thing like, go ahead.
Square is pretty straightforward, but you know it's a simple store. You can post your items, and people don't have any issues buying them. So works
Well,
for
I
me.
only had one sale on my store so far, so I hope to have more of those in the future. And if you're gonna buy the books, they're cheaper on my store. And yeah, you can buy them in bundles as well, so that also saves you some money. Yeah, I can do that on my own store. I can't do those things on places like Amazon. And I get
Hmm.
it, but, you know, still a shame.
Yeah.
Um, so have we covered everything that you wanted to talk about? Like we talked about everything and nothing. So.
We talked about all of the stuff that we made. We talked about our current and upcoming and recent Kickstarters
Hmm.
and our stores and yeah, games and conventions, costumes, good stuff.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the I mean I'm looking forward to expanding the things that I offer, and each of these things are going to be punctuated every couple of years by my books. Got
Hmm.
lots of ideas.
Yeah, yeah. Too many ideas and too little time.
enough time.
A matter of fact, what I can offer you, and I did this with other Kickstarters as well, is that you can offer your books on my Kickstarter as a guest add-on. Um, so
That'd be cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we can do it vice versa as well, of course. I did this with the Stygian Society as well, and I offered it to various writers, and so we can promote each other that way.
I am down with that.
Yeah. So yeah, we can do that in the future. So yeah, and yeah, if you want to do an Association of Ishtar thing at some point, costume, you can. As far as I'm concerned, I think people will like that. Yeah. All right. Well, if there are no more questions in the chat,
Oh wait, there's one really important thing.
oh,
Happy birthday.
oh, thank you. Well, Friday, my birthday is
It's
Friday,
coming up.
but thank you
And you
regardless.
remembered me, but I didn't know how much.
Yeah, yeah. No, Friday is my birthday. I'm on the second, together with my grandmother, but she already passed away, so that's life. But yeah, my sisters will be visiting that day, and yeah, we're just gonna have a nice lunch somewhere. And then yeah, we'll see if I'm gonna organize something with friends. I don't know. I have not really put any time in it at the moment, but yeah, we're gonna try and do this stream Sunday. Everyone is welcome to join us. We'll be talking about the game. And we're gonna do writing sprints for submission so people can get their ideas included. So that's the idea. Maybe we're gonna experiment with AI live on air. Who knows? I don't know. I'm myself a discovery writer. I don't plot, so that's yeah. But who knows?
I'm
and,
camping this weekend.
Yes. Oh, nice,
Camping.
nice.
Yeah.
I hope
Do the whole thing.
you have good weather then.
It looks like it's gonna be hot and sunny, so
Okay. Well, could be worse.
depending on what kind of weather you like.
Well, it sounds like mosquito weather. I don't know if there's a lot of mosquitoes where you are, but
Yes, but it's early in the season, so I have my fingers
yeah,
crossed
that's true. That's
that it
true.
won't be too bad.
Yeah, here is it's kind of like a postponed summer. It feels like it doesn't feel like summer yet, even though it's already June. But yeah. All right,
Yeah.
folks. Well, I already showed my products a couple of times now. I posted the link to Laura's Kickstarter as well. Yes, I hope to see you all soon. I hope to see you Sunday evening. Well, for me, it will be Sunday evening. For you, it will be like 3 o'clock, I think. And yeah, I hope to see you all soon. And yeah, more roleplay and steampunk goodness to come, I suppose.
More excuses to dress up.
Yes, exactly. All right,